Get full episodes of The Damage Report as a podcast on iTunes and Android, and you can watch the live show every weekday on YouTube TV. Over the weekend, there was a peaceful march at the border, the southwestern US border, protesting against US asylum policies, the lack of expedited asylum requests and things like that. That march got out of hand, and some of the marchers, there were something like 500, some of them attempted to go around Mexican police who had set up temporary barricades and shield wall lines. Some people got close to one of the areas of fencing. Apparently some people tried to get through it. There's, to my mind, no knowledge of anyone who actually did, but some people got close to it. And so the Border Patrol, which has been granted about a week ago, I was actually gonna do this story when I got back. It was a report coming out that the rules of engagement for Border Patrol had been loosened, and even up to and including lethal force could be used against migrants. But even before we got back from the holiday, they're now using those loosened rules of engagement, and so they tear gassed crowds of migrants. Best case scenario, you have full-grown adults who are fleeing violence in their countries. Worst case scenario, you have the elderly and children, including babies, who are being tear gassed by our government.
Which we're seeing photos of, exactly. It's exactly what's happening.
Yeah, we're gonna be showing some of those. That's horrendous news.
Yeah.
I mean, the news has been pretty rough for a couple of years. Don't like to see the tear gas in the kids, though.
Unexpected, and not unexpected in a way that I haven't been following the news. Just almost when we first started hearing little pieces, he's putting little words out saying essentially that this is going to start happening. Like he's gonna defend the border at all costs, no matter what, threatening to shut it down. It's just something that last year, 2 years ago, I wouldn't have expected to see.
Yeah,
so surprising in that way, that just because like of basic humanity, I don't know.
Yeah, I tried, so whenever something like this happens, I try to go and see, has anything like this happened before, to put context. And apparently back in 2013, there was an incident, I think in Texas at the border, where pepper spray was used. I don't know, it wasn't clear how big the group was, and there was no indication that there were children or kids or babies, anything like that. But this was tear gas being launched into another country against migrants. That seems noteworthy. And I know we're gonna talk about, there's a lot of people in America that are apologizing for this or doing their apologetics for this sort of policy. But I think that you just have to accept that this is now what we get in our country. Donald Trump ecstatic about this sort of thing. Fox News is loving it, and we're gonna give you more details in a bit.
It's also just such blatant racism. Like that's it, because the conversation starts with, well, they're sending rapists and murderers. Okay, cool, these are not that. Here's proof of that. Okay, well now we're gonna change our asylum rules. Wait, why?
Yeah.
Why?
Well, and he can't. So a judge actually blocked the change of the asylum rules that we talked about a couple of weeks ago, thankfully, because he doesn't have the power of a king. We're gonna have a video in a second about how he responds to these sorts of challenges to his power. Yeah.
Why?
Exactly. Look, I didn't take any of his tweets after this because they're just BS. They're spreading lies.
Right.
But this morning he did tweet that these people who are gassed are hardened criminals. Most of them are hardened criminals. He doesn't know who any of these people are. One individual, he has no idea whatsoever.
Right.
Just says they're hardened criminals, and a third of the country accepts, yep, sign me up, gas the criminals.
Right.
Okay, so Donald Trump hates when he is checked by lawyers or by the Supreme Court or any of the other courts, and here's a description of that.
When you talk to people around him at the moment, he is very, very inflamed about this issue, like sincerely inflamed. Yes, part of it's politics, but he is raging hot, angry at Kirstjen Nielsen, the Homeland Security Secretary. You got to remember, in Trump's mind, he doesn't want to hear legal. One aide once said to me with Trump, you want to get him to do something, just tell him the lawyers won't allow it. That's the quickest way, and Trump's like, all right, we're doing it.
Forget it, we're gonna do it.
So when you hear legalistic, he goes into a rage, and he doesn't want to hear it. He wants to hear, no, it's our land, it's our border, blunt force, stop them. And whenever she comes back with, well, actually, Mr. President, there are these laws, and he shuts down. So he's incredibly frustrated. He hasn't had any success building the wall so far. It's all just been repairs and very paltry amounts of money. And if they don't give him the money he wants, I don't rule it out.
Okay, so that's Jonathan Swan of Axios, good reporting there. It's weird that they went through all of that though, and nobody is like, yeah, this is the approach of a dictator. This is an authoritarian ruler who believes that the laws don't matter, that the courts can't check him, that he doesn't have to consult with Congress or the legislature or anything like that. He can do whatever he wants. And anytime he's stymied in that, he gets enraged, like King Joffrey. This is authoritarianism. That's all it is. And for some reason, we're still not saying that.
It's so repetitive, though. This is just the latest example.
Yeah,
you know?
Exactly. And the thing is, like, thankfully, we do have some checks. So when he tries to set up a Muslim ban, thankfully, at least for a while, the court struck down most of it. When he tries to unilaterally change the asylum laws, which he does not have the ability to do, that was actually overruled. But he also now has a very friendly and increasingly friendly majority in the Supreme Court. So when it finally gets there, will they uphold his changes to the asylum rules? He might. You know, Kavanaugh, we know his approach to these sorts of issues, how partisan he is. There's every reason to believe that these the district courts and the appeals courts that overrule his decisions are simply road bumps on the path to his authoritarian designs on immigration policy.
Yeah.
Thank you very much for watching this clip from The Damage Report. If you liked it, don't forget to subscribe to this channel and ring the bell on YouTube to get notifications of our new videos. And of course, you can catch the full Damage Report live every weekday at 1 p.m. Eastern, 10 a.m. Pacific on TYT Network on YouTube TV.